Well, hello folks, I'm back for my next video. Today I'm starting a video on rewiring my boat. Not completely, I'm not running all the wires from the battery all the way to the console, but I am putting in a new switch gang box, the what do you call it? The rocker switch panel, and I'll show you right here what's going on. Oh, before I show you, let me say to you, really appreciate your videos watching, your video sharing, your subscriptions, your comments, and I've got kind of a mess in my boat because I've already started on it, but let me give you a rundown where I am right now. I'm waiting for my new panel to get in. As soon as it gets in, I'm going to start taking the wires off of the old one and hooking them up to the to the new one. Excuse me. So let me do this with you. There is my old panel. I'm not saying there's anything really wrong with it. It has a few little glicks now and then, and I don't know why, but I'm going to try to get rid of them. It's not new. You can see that kind of dirty, but everything does work. We'll tell you this: the hot wire from the battery goes to the main power switch right there, and that goes then. The power switch hot wire goes from there over to the fuse panel, and I'll show you where the fuse panel is on my boat. There's the fuse panel right there. The fuse block is right there, and so up underneath there you can see I have wires hanging down underneath the console. There's a little better view. Like I said, I've got things scattered everywhere. Now after I get it all wired up, I'm going to take, and I'm using some mule tape. If you're not sure what mule tape is, right here is mule tape. I'm gonna be doing a video on this. They ran some optic cable in our yard recently, and when they ran through the yard, pardon me on the shakiness of the camera, I don't know, with moving it around, it's going to do that. But hey, a video is a video. It's not professional, but it's the best I can do. Okay, so they took the mule tape and they were throwing it away, and I said, if you got some extra of that, don't throw it away, I'll take it. So I've been using it and making mooring lines for my boat. I've given a whole bunch of this, well, I say given a whole bunch, I've shared some of it with my friends, and I can make them anywhere from 2 foot long with loops on either end to 40 foot long if I wanted it with loops on it. One problem with it on the boat, if you get a hook close to it, you're going to have to work getting the hook out of it. But other than that, it's rated at 2,500 pounds, and I don't expect my boat to pull 2,500 pounds, so it works great. If you have a desire for some loops, you let me know. I'll do you a deal on them. Also, there's one other thing before I get back to my boat I want to share with you. Let me find one of them so that well, let me go around to the other, let me go to the other side right quick. Here it is. Boom. Anybody have any idea what these would be? This is one I've been using. I've got a bunch of them. They're leather. I've double stitched Velcro all the way around it. So you can fold them up. They're lure wraps for your rod. So when you have your, well, I thought I could put my hand on one. Hang on. I'll just show you. I know you can buy these inexpensive, and they're cheap, inexpensive plastic, if you will. But sometimes plastic is not just the thing. I got some rods here. I'll just show you if I can get it down here. Okay, so here's my rod, and let's say that right here in my eye, I've got in that little rod keeper, the little lure keeper right there, I've got my lure. Well, I just take this, open the Velcro up, wrap that around my rod, wrap it around my lure, boom. You can handle it and not get cut. The thing about it is they're made out of leather, so they're not going to disintegrate like the inexpensive plastic. Now I know that you can purchase, I don't know, I'm going to say maybe a half a dozen of them in plastic for $20. I'm not sure if that's correct or not. I've seen them on Amazon. But the thing about it is, these are leather, and they're not going to disintegrate. I'd say if you ever had a problem, weren't worried about it, if you just take some neat's foot oil or some leather treatment and put that on there, these things will last a lifetime. So like I said, I didn't put these grommets in them. These leather samples that I had the grommets already in them. Now I don't know, it might be a good thing for hanging them, for doing whatever. My son was here and he said, well, let's get some lures that we think we want to fish with. And I said, okay. So we pulled out several different worm setups, some jig setups, some rattle trap lures, some deep divers, whatever. And we put 4 or 5 of each kind. Like we put, we'll say, worms on hooks or whatever in one of these, and just folded them up. We had 4 or 5 lures of that specific category. We just pitched them up on the dash, and then they're handy to get to if we needed to change lures. So here's the thing: if you're interested in these, I'm selling them. I've got a bunch of them, and I can make a whole lot more than what I've already got. And you text me, you email me, I'll give you the price. We'll talk about it, and it'll depend on how many you want, and we'll go from there. So let's get back to my wiring situation. So I was telling you about the mule tape. Up underneath my console, up at the top, I took some big panhead screws and I put through the mule tape, and I screwed it up to the top, and then whenever I get my wires all run, I'm going to take and just make it'll be like this. It'll be screwed up at the top over here, and then it'll be like that, and it'll be screwed up at the top on this side with the wires running in there. And if I need to loosen it, take it down, I'll just pull one of the screws out, drop it down. I can get rid of the bundle, take it out. I'll make the bundle a little large so that I can use zip ties just to add to it. So that right there is what's going on. I did have a problem with my aerator, and I'm not sure where is it. I'm not sure exactly. I think this is something to do with the timer for the automatic, because when my aerator runs automatic, because it was hooked right here to this. Well, this has a blue and a red and a black wire, so I know it gets power, but it shows to have some coloration in there, and it kept blowing a fuse when I turned my aerator on. So what I did, I went and got me another aerator, and I put me a new aerator in, but the little cover fell off. But then I just took my aerator and put the spades on it and hooked it back up, and it runs like a champ. So my aerator was going out, and I had taken it apart. The one I got was a little different from this one, but I took it apart and tried it on a battery. It still blew a fuse and was slowing down, and I said, well, I'll put in a new one. Since then, it's worked like a champ. I will tell you, I dropped it. I will tell you, I would recommend, if you decide to rewire your boat and you put new connections on, I think it's a good idea, if you have time and resources to do it, is to solder your connectors, your spades or your whichever kind of ends that you're putting on, wherever you're splicing, just so you've got a good permanent connection. Now, I'm not running any wires. I have inspected my wires, everything that I can from front to back. They're in, it's a factory job. Man, I love what Alumacraft did on their, I don't think I've ever shown you my boat. I like what Alumacraft does. I've got a Trophy Sport 175 Elite Series. This is a 2000 model boat, and I've had it for a couple of years, and I tell you, it's been wonderful. If I ever buy another boat or change boats or whatever, I'm going to be looking for another Alumacraft. They may not be the most expensive boat, they may not be the biggest name boat, but I'll tell you what, this boat has done everything that I've needed it to. I trust it in 4 to 6 foot seas. I've had it in 4 foot seas. Haven't been in 6 foot seas. I'm not in the ocean. But in 4 foot seas in a storm, it did just fine. So I've got I have a little Garmin chart plotter at the console, and then I've got a Lowrance up on the bow. And I tell you, they were on here when I bought the boat. The only thing that I have done, I have replaced the trolling motor from a motor guide, an old motor guide, to a fairly new Minn Kota Ulterra. And man, I do like this trolling motor. It has the iPilot as well as the foot control. As I said, I really enjoy using the Minn Kota trolling motor, the Ulterra, because it has the iPilot. I have spot lock. Now, one day I hope that I'll be able to change out one or both, either my Garmin or my Lowrance, or both of them, and do a setup with live scope and with Panoptics, that kind of a situation. Not necessary. If I was going to have one or the other, I would rather have the quality upgraded trolling motor rather than the Panoptic. I'm not sure that I would ever figure it out completely. One other thing that I have that I've built, and for my boat, I just want to show that to you. If you're not familiar with them, I have built myself a thumper. Nope, I dropped my camera again. Let me get it out of here. I'll show you what I engineered from watching YouTube and some other things. I have I put a little motor in here. That little motor right there was an electric seat motor, and let me see if I can. I got stuff in the way. I don't know if I can or not. Let me see if I can hook it up. I did this for catching stripers and hybrids and sand bass. I will tell you that the few times that I have used it, I could tell that it did make an effect on drawing the fish in. Well, there it is, folks. I'll turn it off. No use in listening to that thing bang and make noise all day long, so we'll shut it down. We'll save battery as well. But I did that. I can put all of the wire, I can coil all the wire up and put it in back inside whenever I'm not using it. Store it, take it wherever I want to. But when you set that in the floor of your boat and turn it on, especially if you're on spot lock in one place and you see the sand bass or the hybrid stripers, whatever, running and feeding, it simulates, if that's the word I want to use, the sound of fish feeding and splashing, making vibrations in the water, and that does. I have seen it draw them in. I was with a friend at Possum Kingdom back in the spring, and he had one on his boat, and I did see it. He had the Panoptics on his boat. And he said, let's try this. He said, looks like there's some hybrids down there, some stripers down there. So we started jigging, and he said, well, they moved a little bit. He said, let's bring them back. Well, I watched him turn that on, and sitting on the floor of his boat, and it was just about like that. And lo and behold, here came the fish. You could see them coming back closer to the boat again, and we didn't have time to use it but about 5 minutes because we were in a hurry. But he was just showing me. I did see that it worked, and he's a professional guide, and he said it puts his clients on a lot of fish. Maybe one day when I get a little better and have a little different setup or whatever, maybe I'm thinking about starting a guide service. But if I do that, I'm going to miss some of my fun time. But hey, it'd be fun. Just like my last fishing video when I took Bryce, and I just met him on the lake a couple of days before that, took him fishing. He had a blast, I had a blast. We caught a mess of fish. If you haven't seen my second fishing video with Bryce, you need to watch it, especially to the end, because it has got an awesome catch at the very close to the end. But enough of that. Let's get back to my boat now. What I'm putting on is, instead of one like this, it's going to be in the same place up here. It's going to cover about nearly 5 inches, about 4 3/4 inches. So it should cover this whole area. I may have to enlarge this hole here just a little bit for the circuit breakers and the switches to fit in to flush them out. But that won't be a big problem. The one that I'm getting is a water witch, W-A-T-E-R-W-I-C-H. The one I'm getting has 8. This one has, I think it's 6. Yeah, this one has the main power plus 5 auxiliaries. I don't know if I mentioned this. The hot wire from the battery comes to this panel first of all. It goes to here, and then the other, it's the yellow one right there, and then this hot wire goes from the switch over to the fuse bar, the fuse bus panel, where all of the 5 and 7 amp fuses are. Let me say to you, check your boat. Make sure you have the properly rated fuses. Important thing about properly rated fuses is you do not want to burn your boat up. Over fusing them just so you can run more stuff, you might burn your boat down. I have a friend, his neighbor had his boat sitting in his garage, and he didn't have it all disconnected. He told me, he said his boat caught on fire. It was electrical in his boat. It burned his boat. It burned his shop building, a car that was in it, and everything that he had in that shop building. So you don't want that to happen in the garage. You sure don't want it to happen when you're out on the water. But be sure that you fuse everything properly. Now, my boat, I didn't do it. It was done that way before I bought it. And it has 2 fuses for the horn and the fuse, the horn, the bilge pump, and the aerator are all 5 amp fuses. The rest of the fuses are 10 amp fuses. I will be changing those 10 amp fuses back to 5 amp fuses, because the other fuses in there, they run the navigation light, the stern light, and let's see, what else? The radio. I don't use the radio much. I'm fishing. What else does it run? Oh, and then some auxiliaries. I've made, I don't think I can get to them, but I have made some lights for my boat so I can fish at night. Oh, it also runs, I've got a 10 amp on my 2 cigarette lighter outlets, which is right over there. I don't know if you can see them or not, but there's two outlets over there for plugging in different things. I use one of them specifically for my cell phone charging and for charging my batteries for my camera, that kind of thing. And then I plug my green light in when I'm crappie fishing at night, and I drawing the bait in and the plankton in. So that's kind of where that is. I did something else too, to just show you. In this cubby hole right up here, where underneath my trolling motor, in that mess in there, I have mounted 2 more cigarette lighter outlets so that I can plug in different lights. I took some PVC pipe about 5 foot long, and I mounted their fog lights for a Jeep or whatever. The little LED fog lights are about 3 inches by 5 inches. They're not real big. They put out a lot of light. I'd like to put one that was a spotlight that was just boom, real bright, if I needed it. But it sure helps at night when you're navigating. I have 2 more, so I have the 2 that I mounted on the long poles. One of them mounts right here in this bracket, and then on the other side of the boat, right in front, right over there, is another pipe clamp. They stand up, so they stand up a little higher than my stern light does, but I can just pivot them around. I can shine them from there all the way over whatever degrees I want to shine them at. But then I made another one. It's back up under yonder, and I'll show you that when I'm back up in the boat, I'll show you that one. It's two lights. It's mounted on a little stand it's about nearly 2 foot tall. But those sit up at the front of the boat, and they're two lights sitting right side by side. So I can mount that. I can set it up on the bow of my boat by my trolling motor at night, and I can see the water where I'm going, so I don't run over a stump, a log, or whatever might be floating in the water that you don't want to get your prop into, or maybe somebody's jug lines or a trot line that's set out and you don't want to bump it. So that's kind of what that is. Okay, for right now, I'm going to stop my video, and I'll be back maybe tomorrow, because the Amazon truck is already run, and my panel for my switches was not in that order. So tomorrow it will be here. We'll be back. You have a blessed day till I see you again. Okay, folks, we're back with working on the lights. Used the switch panel. I want to show you. I've got some of them wired in. Got my nav lights, my anchor light to the new toggle switch. I have the horn hooked up, and I'll show you. There's the nav light switch, the old one. It still works. Well, finally, the old rough cutout where the other one was is going to work real well. I'll show that. Let's see. Now, that'll kind of fill up the dashboard. And I've got to get me something, see if I can get rid of my marks made, because I thought I was going to have to make some adjustments for the other handle, and I am sure glad that I got this one instead of that was not necessary. Alrighty, well, again, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. I'll show you the end product when I get all of the screws in and everything set. Well, tell you what, it's all about electronic. Little messy there. Thanks for watching.